Brothas podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, as always. Guest, friend of the show, Timmy. How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
I'm great. We got a good Thursday night game. I'm ready.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Normally we do talk about this at the end too, but I wanted to just say in the beginning, definitely look at us on Instagram, look at us on YouTube, and also Kyle and I have been getting pretty involved with the Live Take app. It's an app. Right now it's iOS only, but download the Live Take app. You can put your takes on there. You can put mini videos on there. It's basically just a nice sports community to where you can post things and interact with other people on there. It's a very fun, cool app. It's definitely up and coming, so look out for the Live Take app for sure. Wanted to quickly say that. Speaking of the Live Take app, though, last night, the wee hours of the morning, Kyle and I talked about the trade heard around the world, one of the biggest trades over the last 10 years. Honestly, when you break it down, one of the biggest. Damian Lillard headed to Milwaukee. You've got Jrue Holiday headed to Portland. Obviously, there's more pieces there. And then Nurkic and Grayson Allen heading to Phoenix in a 3-team, and Ayton heading to Portland as well in a 3-team trade. Kyle, we've already got your first take on it. Timmy or Kyle, who wants to go first talking more about it? This thing it's crazy.
I mean, I know you had thoughts about it. Like, you got some specific things you want to get off your chest that you teased on Live Take last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you understood that we did an exclusive reaction podcast on Live Take is what we
really
did. So, I mean, my take from it was basically, I think we each agreed like it was a good deal for all three teams. Probably like Phoenix's end of it the least with Nurkic, especially if you're giving away a young asset like Ayton. Obviously, he seemed unhappy with his role over the last year and a half with Phoenix, and that was probably only going to continue with the addition of Bradley Beal and the other scorers that they have. You know, they got a lot of one-on-one scorers on that squad. So I like it mostly. Like, we'll talk about Phoenix more next month, but as far as the Bucks and Portland, I think you couldn't have got a better trade, honestly. I mean, it's damn near a perfect trade for each. The Bucks might need to iron out some depth, which we talked about, but in general, just Dame with Giannis and then of course Middleton you still have over there. You got to be happy if you're a Bucks fan, and it likely secures Giannis for at least a few more years or at least an extension, I would think anyway. So yeah, it's a A+ trade for the Bucks. You have to be happy if you're like I said, if you're a Bucks fan especially, but if you're Chris Middleton, I think you're getting open shots all day, every day, this whole season. So,
absolutely. And Timmy, I know basketball is not football for you, but you do will follow it. What did you think about the trade?
Tim's more of a cricket guy, actually.
You caught me. In terms of all the teams, I think it's actually a pretty decent trade here. I'm just like looking at it, really checking it out. The one thing I was always worried about with Phoenix after they traded for Beal was who their bench was going to be. They didn't really have any depth, and they kind of gained a lot of depth with this. So, and especially like Kyle mentioned, Ayton was kind of a dramatic guy at one point, demanded a trade. They extended him to get that out of the locker room. Maybe that kind of helps this team gel. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed on this team. So I think the Suns, even though they might not have gotten the most through all three teams here, I think it might actually make their team play a little bit better. So, and then obviously Damian Lillard's great, so the Bucks win no matter what. And then the Blazers got much more of a deal this way than they would have from Miami. So they did what was best for their franchise here. So.
Yeah, as I said to Kyle, I think all parties involved really did well. I mean, the thing right as the Bradley Beal trade happened, we talked about it on the pod, and we were like, okay, you guys lost last year because you needed bodies. And then when you traded a lot of bodies for Bradley Beal when the one problem you guys did not have was scoring. And that's what he does. You guys don't have a real facilitator, but regardless, they just didn't have the bodies. Now they at least have legitimate NBA bodies who in playoff situations can play. Grayson Allen has, obviously the last moment we have of him was whatever that was against Miami, but he still played in big playoff games. You've got Nasir Little, who they got as well, who's a pretty solid defender. Like they finally got some pieces added to that roster. So I think that's good for the Suns. The Blazers aspect, they're not done yet, which I'm about to get into. And then obviously, as we talked, it's Damian Lillard. Like that's a worst top 12 player in the league, going with at worst a top 3 player in the league put together. So 2 of the top 12 players in the league, plus you kept Brook Lopez, plus you kept Bobby Portis. Like you can't really go wrong. And veterans are gonna want to play there, especially after the buyout market, knowing they don't have to stay in Milwaukee too long to get a championship. So it's definitely a great move for everybody. And do you want to get into the Jrue Holiday portion of this, which is the second shoe that needs to drop in this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of reiterate what I said last night before you get into your trade packages, but I think it's the most fascinating piece of this. I said last night, I think Philly, Miami, and Boston need to be going after Jrue Holiday heavy. I think if you get him, like I think right now the Bucks are the favorite in the East. And I think if you get Jrue Holiday, if you're one of those 3 teams, or even like the Raptors, even you mentioned the Knicks last night, that puts you right neck and neck with them, especially if you're those 3 teams of Miami, of Boston, and the Sixers. Mm-hmm. And specifically to the Sixers, offer James Harden for Jrue Holiday. Whether the Blazers would take that, who knows? Maybe they take him as an asset. But I think that's a get-out-of-jail-free card. But again, that's contingent on if the Blazers even want him. They want him as an asset. I don't know what Harden's worth is exactly as an asset right now.
I think that'd be so pointless for them, in my personal opinion. Like, if for Philly, that'd be phenomenal. That would be absolutely phenomenal. I think around the league, Jrue Holiday is a bigger piece than Harden, or a more attractive piece than Harden. So I think that you would be just trading for a lesser piece. If it's not, and I'm not in NBA circles, and Harden is a more attractive piece, then I think that could work great, because you can get the Sixers get more depth or get a better play, because you get someone who's not going to shrink in the moment. You get a better defender and a guy who can distribute, but obviously not as well as Harden. And then with the Blazers, you get another piece to move around and get more pieces. So if that is the case,
it's intriguing.
I don't think it is.
It's intriguing.
But I don't think it's the case.
Yeah, who knows? It all depends on really what Harden's worth is.
Not in the circles.
If that Clippers thing is real, because supposedly there was a Clippers, not offer, but something there. But who knows? Like, it's just so hard to tell what is and is not true when it comes to NBA rumors and such. It's going to be interesting in general. We'll talk about it more in a couple weeks here. But what James Harden's going to do in general, is James Harden going to, I don't think he's going to show up. I think he's going to basically pull a Ben Simmons, and that's just going to make a distressed asset. That only puts his value down. He seems to ruin his value anyway over the last few years, forcing his way out of Brooklyn, forcing his way now out of Philly. I don't know. I just can't imagine his worth is too much, even though he is still a star and was still like a top 20, 15 player just as soon as January, just as soon as March, honestly.
Just as soon as Game 5.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And
it's Game 5.
He was battling an injury and whatever, but I don't know. I'm fascinated to see how all of this, because it all kind of connects. Jrue Holiday will connect to Harden in some form of fashion, because it's all going to be, I would imagine he goes to an Eastern Conference team, but you mentioned a Western Conference team last night that I'm very intrigued by, that you will get to right now.
Yes.
How many teams do you have, by the way?
11.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I'm not saying, obviously, I have 11 teams that I think Jrue Holiday on legitimately all 30 teams could benefit in some way, shape, or form, because he's just that good of a player. So in all 30 teams, he could be beneficial, but you cut out half of them because half of them aren't truly competing for anything. And like a team like the Pistons, yes, he could help theoretically, but you're not getting there this year. So why would you trade for him? He's a veteran piece that is definitely going to move you toward the chip. So, do you want me to go through all 11? Do you want me to just pick a few that I think are interesting? How would you like me to go through this? Because I can breeze through them.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
And a comment. My comment would be, if Portland just kept Jrue Holiday, that's not the worst either. He kind of fits that team.
It's not terrible.
They're bordering on a playoff team. I don't think it's crazy to say that. They were anyway with Dame, but having Scoot in there and the depth that they have, and now getting Ayton, I think they're at least bordering on a playoff team. But my question:
if they snuck into the play-in and then they were the 8th seed this year, because Scoot was awesome, he put up 18, 4 and 6, which is easily possible. Ayton in a better role now can be like the number 2 kind of scoring option, kind of shade and sharp. Yeah, they easily could. That's definitely a possibility. Sorry, your question.
Granted, the West is loaded, but
yeah, of course. But
my question is: did you run all these trades through the trade machine? Are they all financially, are they all legit trades?
I did not run any of them through the trade machine. I ran everyone through my mind and was looking at all of the numbers and seeing that all the contractually all of them would go through. So yes, they're all legitimate trades.
That seems like a lot of work.
It is
when there's a trade machine. But I like it.
I don't know. I've always liked the old fashioned. Because I like to play around with salaries and seeing how things would work. And there's a little portions of it, maybe it needs to throw in someone like a Garrett Temple at the end just to make sure everything kind of works there. But everything contractually I've lined up so it would work. All right. So do you want me to just go through all of them?
Let's hear it.
And then you guys stop at the grades
you
think
in reverse
cool?
order if possible. If you got a least likely to most likely or
least likely to most likely. Okay, least likely to. I'll go least likely to most likely, but all of them are intriguing to me. The Thunder. I have Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Kenrick Williams for Jrue Holiday and Chris Murray.
Okay. Yeah, Thunder are not giving up Giddey. I can't picture that one.
See, I can't picture the Thunder giving up Giddey either, but Giddey's interesting. That was the piece that I kind of played around with because it was either Giddey or getting rid of there was somebody else that I was thinking about as well on that team. But Giddey was the interesting piece that I thought if Portland could try to make a trade around Josh Giddey, that would be a very big asset for them. But I wasn't 100% sure on that one. That one I thought was interesting, and they might need to add something in. Chris Murray is rookie this year, if you don't know. He's Keegan Murray's brother. Game kind of resembles Keegan Murray, so I thought that would be an interesting piece sliding in there. Okay, so that's one. Speaking of the Kings, which would be Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles for Jrue Holiday and Chris Murray. And Portland adding a 2025 second.
I like that trade.
So I think with the Kings, you get a veteran. You get a guy to go along De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, as the Blazers, you get a guy who's a lethal shooter in Keegan Murray. Kevin Huerter, always pronounce his name wrong, but he can also shoot as well for sure. So that's someone off the bench that you can get that can shoot. And then Trey Lyles is just a solid big. And then obviously the Kings would be getting back his brother, so you'd still be getting a guy who can stretch the floor, obviously not to the same level because, he was the 23rd pick in the draft. I think Keegan was a lottery pick. So that would be another one. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that would be a cool trade. Next, probably the Mavs would be the Mavs in there. It's Tim Hardaway Jr., Derek Likely, who is rookie drafted this year. Willie Cauley-Stein, Jackson Hayes with a little bit more IQ is kind of what his comp was. So
Cauley-Stein's overseas now.
Guy, is he overseas right now?
He is, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I know they drafted him this year, so I guess it'd be his rights to him and then coming over. And then 2027.
Cauley-Stein, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Oh.
He's overseas, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just saying Derek Lively's a comp, his comp is that.
Gotcha.
And
gotcha.
Yeah, so Derek Lively's kind of like his comps, like Willie Cauley-Stein, Jackson Hayes, kind of type of big who can rim run, protect the rim. And then a 2027 first.
I don't think Dallas has the assets compared to a lot of these
Dallas
teams.
Wait, what was that?
I don't think Dallas has the assets compared to the Thunder or even the Kings. So
See, I don't think that I think they're third on my least to most likely because I think they're more so to go after it. I don't think the Thunder would. I don't think the Kings would. I put them there because I think they're more likely to go after it, but they're on the lowest part of the totem pole because I don't think they have enough. Next, this one's a question mark, but I'm going to put the Sixers because it really is just a James Harden package because they're not doing Tyrese Maxey. And so it's like, could it happen? Maybe. Could it not happen? Maybe. I don't really know. It's just how you value James Harden. Obviously, as if I'm a Sixers fan, I'm in the Sixers organization, I'm doing it. If I'm in the Blazers organization, I wouldn't. But again, we don't know how things will be. So then as a Celtics fan, that's next. I would say I think they're going to want Derek White, but maybe Malcolm Brogdon and Rob Williams would be your deal, would be your package.
I think the Celtics would obviously be Brogdon because they tried to move him. But yeah, you're right. Portland might want Derek White. If they were content with Brogdon and picks and Rob Williams, I'd be more than okay with that. Even though Porzingis and Rob Williams are like equal injury luck kind of guys, they they each got the same risk of being injured. I don't know. It would take a Jrue Holiday. I mean, I don't want to spill the beans or anything, but it would take a Jrue Holiday trade for me to be anywhere near taking the Celtics team seriously as a contender. I mean, they're a contender, don't get me wrong, and they got maybe even a better roster all around than the Bucks. But I just don't know how they're gonna function. Like, I want to know who's gonna take over that leadership role now that Marcus Smart's gone. It should be Tatum and Brown, but we just haven't really seen it yet as far as a Celtics fan. But they are getting to that point in their career where they really do need to step up and, take control of the team. So we'll see.
100%.
If we got Holiday, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. So
yeah, because that's the veteran. That's the veteran you need. That's the leader that you need. He's more of a silent leader rather than a vocal, like you see it on the court kind of leader. But he's still a leader. But yeah, keeping Derek White would be the ideal thing. But I think it might have to be Derek White and Rob Williams. Either way, their contracts would line up regardless of who it was. And then you'd have to throw in probably a 2027, 2028 first. So I'd throw a couple picks in there to move it, but that's basically the basis of it. The Heat are this next that I have, and I think they have two ways to do this. I think you could go the Tyler Hero and Jacquez Jr. route, or I think you could try to go the Kyle Lowry Jovic route. I don't think Miami's giving up Jovic and Hero for Holiday. I think that's too much of an asset or too much asset. Because obviously Hero, I think with Lowry, you get an expiring contract after this year, and then you get Jovic, you get a really young piece who will be able to fit in with your young nucleus and kind of go along that timeline. Or you get a young piece in Tyler Hero who can be a six man on that team that's already going to have a lot of shooters and a lot of wings. And then you get Jacquez Jr., who is another guy who was actually showing out in Summer League this year. Obviously, it's Summer League, but still, that's the first time we've really seen him play on like a NBA-ish stage, and he played well. So
I like the Hero.
That would be I
like the Hero package more, only because we've seen the Heat without Hero. They made it to the finals without him. They can kind of plug and play when it comes to shooters a little bit. And if you can get Holiday, you kind of want to keep Jovic. Like Jovic, if it's Dame, you throw Jovic in
I agree.
there. But in general, there's not too many guys. Like if there's a way for you to get Holiday at a lesser price, you do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I agree. I would do the Hero one first, but I wouldn't say Hero and Jovic. I would, because if I'm Portland, I absolutely do that.
Sure.
But so that would be the next. I don't have like a full trade package for the Raptors because they came out the other day and said OG's not being moved. And I don't think they're moving Scotty Barnes either, but the package would be Chris Boucher and OG that would be the package. So that would be that package. And now we get into the four that I like the most. So the Clippers, it'd be Norman Powell, either Terrence Mann or Robert Covington, Kenyon Martin Jr., and like a 2026 second.
I love that
I was
trade.
gonna say I think Kenyon Martin Jr. definitely for Houston. I think he averaged like 12, 6, and 3-ish last year. He's shown obviously he's on a team that kind of didn't have like stars or roles really. They kind of just went out there and played. But he showed that he's had talent. He definitely can play. Norman Powell, veteran, played 6-man of the year last year. Was it? Did he win 6-man last year?
So yeah.
Or I believe he won 6-man, and then obviously either you get Robert Covington, who is a nice veteran piece that you always have on young rosters like that, or Terrence Mann, who is younger but still been in the league for a little bit of time.
Yeah, the Clippers are definitely high on Terrence Mann, like reasonably so. He's a versatile defender. He plays hard. Like I love Terrence Mann's game. So if you like, Holiday's one of the only people I would move Terrence Mann for. You know what I mean? If you could have the foursome, I mean, say what you want about Westbrook, but if you could have a foursome of Westbrook, Holiday, Kawhi, and Paul George, you know at least Westbrook and Holiday are going to play. You know, Paul George and Kawhi, how many games they're always going to play. So if you can have that as like just kind of a backup option, always have those two on the floor, that's great if you're the Clippers. And that's a lot better than the James Harden trade that allegedly they might have been interested in or not. But
I agree.
Yeah, I love that for the Clippers.
I agree. I would, obviously, if I'm the Clippers organization, I'm pushing Robert Covington first. But if I have to, I would give up Terrence Mann. So I kind of put them, and their Covington's like $12 million a year, and Mann's like 10.5. So they're about the same. I should have put the Lakers trade first because I like the Clippers one actually better. But I was just reading now down. So the Lakers, it really would just be D'Angelo Russell, Roy Hachimura, and like a 2028 first. Like that's their package, which isn't a bad package by any means. So I was gonna say, but that is their deal. And if they could get, I think they might benefit almost more than anybody on this list about getting, because if you can get Jrue Holiday, LeBron, and AD with Austin Reeves, then yeah. That would be a very, very good duo or trio, plus with Austin Reeves, if you want to call it a big four.
Yeah, I mean they signed D'Angelo basically like he's got a very tradable contract, so they'll either keep him and use him as a 6-man like last year, or he's going to be moved for some piece, whether that's eventually Kyrie, whether it's Jrue Holiday, whether it's whoever.
I think Lakers are definitely on the phone right now trying to get that done. And then the last two I have would be the Knicks. So the Knicks have two packages as well. The Knicks have RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Harvenstein in like a 2028 second. And then you would probably give Jrue Holiday and Keegan Murray in that, and then maybe a pick from Portland as well.
Keegan Murray? Or the other Murray, you mean?
Sorry, Chris Murray.
Word.
Chris Murray, my bad. And then if not, you would go with the Julius Randle, Josh Hart in like a 2027 first.
A lot of potential, like former Blazers.
I would do the Randle one.
A lot of potential former Blazers coming back to Portland.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
I would try to do the Randle one first.
Yeah, I can't imagine. The Knicks love Josh Hart. I can't imagine them giving him up, and I have a hard time really seeing them giving RJ up.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like I like it, but it's like obviously the organizations have who they're true to, who they really like what they're going to move. But these are just trades that kind of I think would work good for both. I mean, probably what they would try to maybe do is instead of Josh Hart, they would try to go with Evan Fournier to try to keep Josh Hart, and then you got to kind of work around that. But that I think would have to be the base. If they could get Evan Fournier and Julius Randle, because Portland's fine with that, then more power to them. And then the last one would be Chris Paul Warriors. It'd be Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, and a 2026 first, probably top 5 protected. You get an expiring contract in Chris Paul. You get a young piece who's shown to play well, and Jonathan Kuminga, who can play 3, who can play a 4. Obviously, you get a first, which would be in either 26 or 27 first, which would be in 3 years. So basically, you would think Curry's done, or on the back half. Clay's probably not with the team. Draymond's probably retired. Steve Kerr might honestly be gone.
In 3 years?
In 3 years, I could see Draymond retired. Yeah.
Didn't he sign a big extension, though? Like a 4-year extension?
I would say Draymond, I honestly could see him retired in like 3 years. I don't know if he will be, because maybe he will stay around, because that would be his 14th, 15th, going into his 15th season. So, I mean, I could see, depending on how his podcast is going, how like the team's looking, how things are going, he might be around, but like I think the Warriors will be on their last leg at that point. I don't think they're not going to be the Warriors we know today in 3 years.
Yeah, depending how they tackle everything.
Yeah, unless, I mean, because they're geniuses over there, so maybe they get another star to go over, so like Curry can dwindle into the second best player on a championship team, like truly, and not being like a 1A.
Well, a lot of these teams like Miami, like New York, like Gold State, they were going to be in on the Giannis sweepstakes. That was, you know, likely going to be next summer, and that's probably out of the window now.
Unless this crashes and burns,
right?
Like they'd have to like get bounced in like the second,
right? Like it would have to be bad, like really bad, you know, like lose to a lesser opponent in the second round too, you know,
like lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round, and like 5 or 6.
And speaking of that, like Donovan Mitchell is definitely going to be on the move. So I mean, it's all going to tie together somehow. I definitely think the Celtics and the Warriors are going to be two of the more active teams when it comes to the Jrue Holiday sweepstakes. It'll be interesting to see if he makes it out of training camp with the Blazers, like how quickly this will move, you know. But
it all depends too on what they're getting, because a lot of tradable pieces can't be traded until December 15th. December 19th or something like that. 15th. Week 15th. So like whatever. So it really depends on like what trade they get, because they might have to like have him on roster until the deadline, which it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. It's not like you're going to stunt anything. Like it's not a terrible thing at all, but it might be more of a deadline, close to All-Star break move rather than like a right now move. All depending.
It's interesting to me how like everybody going into the summer was like worried about the Chris Paul piece when it came to Phoenix, and now you're telling me he might be the most interesting asset, like with Kuminga for Jrue Holiday. Like you think
the contract is
true because it is expiring.
That's why you would trade for Chris Paul. I think, well, 2 reasons, honestly. I think having Chris Paul in the locker room
for Scoot,
a clearly Hall of Fame point guard, probably top 10. I mean, don't want to argue, top 10 point guard of all time, to be there with Scoot saying, "Hey, this is how you do things," like kind of teaching him the way for a season, being behind him. Yeah, I think that could work out well for Scoot, and then you get off of that contract. Next summer is not going to be the greatest of free agent markets, unless people, I don't believe so. 2025 looks like it's going to have people
Mitchell
like,
should be a free agent.
What's
right?
up?
Donovan Mitchell.
Who?
Won't Donovan Mitchell be a free agent?
I didn't see him in the 2025, honestly. Because I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing Pascal Siakam, Buddy Hield.
24 free agent class.
Sorry, I was going to say the 24 class is Siakam, Buddy Hield, Klay Thompson, Gordon Hayward, people like that. And then the 25, and then other rookie contracts. Then 25, by the looks of it, Jamal Murray, who's going to be back, Brandon Ingram, Paul George, Derek White, OG, Lonzo, people like that. So Franz Wagner. So people like that are going to be available, but obviously it's the NBA, so like trades are always accessible. So I think if you were to get Chris Paul in really clear space, even, and not that this might not happen, but even say the Sixers do bad, you might have room for a Joel Embiid trade. You can package Ayton. You could package maybe a couple pieces, and then you have room to already give him a max deal, and then you got Scoot and you've got Joel Embiid. So things like that when you open up, and I think that's where Chris Paul becomes a really interesting piece because of the contract, not because of the player. But I think the player could help the development of their young guys.
Absolutely. I like it.
But those are all my trade packages. Probably none of them are going to get done, but that was
one of those is going to get done.
I like to have.
One of those is going to get done. It's gonna be one of.
I hope,
I would think it's gonna be one of the Sixers, Clippers, Celtics, Warriors, and then whoever else, whether it's the Knicks, like for sure one of those four teams though, and the Heat. The Heat absolutely got a shot at it. So he's gonna go to a good team, a contending team, and it's gonna be madness once again in the NBA.
Yep.
But it does feel like we at least got a reset right now. We got Tim yawning talk about the NBA over here.
No, I'm sorry.
Just
Tim.
listening.
Yeah, right.
Tim. I'm sorry. I put a few hours into trying to put these trade packages together because I have nothing better to do with my life.
I will say, like, I was thinking about it again last night because you said on the pod last night, like Kobe and Shaq, Dame and Giannis, and I once again cannot get all the way there. Just because of the superstardom that Shaq was and that Kobe was, like Kobe going into that 2000 season might not have been a top 10 player yet, but he was like one of the most popular players in the league. And that's where Giannis is a star and he's a superstar, obviously, but the level of stardom that Shaq and Kobe were. Dame and Giannis.
I just been on the court. I didn't mean
I feel you, but that's why I said I couldn't compare because it'd really only be like that's why I was saying KD and Westbrook and maybe LeBron and Wade, you know, and definitely LeBron.
Yeah, and
LeBron and Wade's probably
it'd be Curry and KD and Curry would probably be your closest thing. I mean, obviously not player style wise, but like the second and third or like the first and second like best player. Modern day today, your closest honestly would probably be Giannis and Curry for modern day because of how the game is played today. You would have obviously two mega superstars that are both top 3 in the league, and it would tear the league up. Like what we think that Dame and Giannis could lose. They're the favorites, but they could lose. I would be very shocked if they filled out the roster how they should easily if Steph and Giannis lost. I would be shocked. Personally.
I mean, again, we're going to get into the NFL, but it's not like the drop off from Curry to Dame is not crazy. You know, I mean, stylistically, they're almost the exact same player.
It's Curry, not crazy, but there's a difference.
There is, but I mean, we're going to...
It's like Mike to Kobe.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
I mean,
Mike
even
Kobe.
Even then, like, you're going to take it.
But there's a difference.
There is.
But no, I'm not saying... I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you can get 95% of the greatest at something, then you're doing really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because Kobe was about 9.
Absolutely,
so
but
when you're telling me like Dame's bad.
No. But I'm saying when you're telling me it's more shocking if they lost with Curry than Dame, I think they bring a lot of the same things to the table. Like it's gonna be the wide open shots we've never seen.
It'd be more shocking if Mike lost and Kobe.
Sure. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I don't think. I mean, we're talking hypotheticals here, but I don't think it's like it's crazy. I think either way, Dame or Curry, whoever you put there, they're gonna open up the game for Giannis in ways he's never seen, and likewise on the reverse, Giannis would open up open shots for Curry and Dame, and Will for Dame that he's never seen.
Yeah,
and again, Middleton's gonna get so many open, like he's going to be the Ray Allen of the situation. That's the comparison I made. This is very much reminds me of Giannis being KG, Dame being Paul Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got two closers and you got someone who's just going to be like attacking the rim even more than usual. He's going to get even more one-on-one looks at the rim, which is stupid. Like what? He might shoot 65% this year. Giannis. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's kind of what you felt. I mean, in a different way, but when they were like, hey, Kevin Durant, come play with Steph and Clay. You're like, wait, Clay's going to be the third guy who's getting open looks? What's going on?
Except that team was 73-9. That's the only difference.
Well, I know. Well, no, obviously it's a difference, but it's just like the thought that like Clay's going to be the guy that's getting open looks. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. But all right. That was good. Hey, Tim. How's it going?
It's going.
It's good to see you, Tim.
You named so many basketball players that I don't know. Not gonna lie.
It's okay. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. You're here to enjoy the basketball, to soak in the Warner Brothas podcast knowledge, obviously, and then now you're here to give your knowledge on these football picks. So it's week 4. Game starting about less than an hour. We got Detroit and Green Bay. Kyle, I think you're going to be probably pulling up the lines like normal while you're doing such a thing. Last week, I went 11-5. Kyle went 10-6.
I think that's been the
I am
same
now
the first like 3 weeks. I think we've all been one game off, right?
we've been one
And I
game
think you
apart, and
won
I've been
all
on
of
the
them, like the one up.
yes, and so I'm 30-18, and you're 27-21. Last week, really, what kind of set us apart was the Bengals game. You had the Rams, I had the Bengals. Obviously, we had some other, but it came down to Bengals Rams for the record of who won the week, and Joe Shiesty did Joe Shiesty things.
I don't think he did.
Really pedestrian.
I really don't think he did.
I was to say being really pedestrian. He played a solid quarterback game.
I gotta say, Tim's the first guest we've had to do picks. So shouts to you, Tim. First 3-way pick 'em we've done here.
Let's go.
Hope to start out undefeated. You can only you can't put me on for like the season record since it's only 1 week. But
I mean, if you go undefeated 3 weeks, you'll probably be in the running. Yeah. Alrighty, so Kyle, start us off.
Sure, we got Detroit going to Green Bay tonight. Obviously, like Keenan said, less than an hour here. Green Bay is the underdog at +2. Who you guys got? Ooh. I want to hear who you guys got first.
Timmy, go first. I've talked enough. Timmy, you go first.
This one was actually difficult. Being in Green Bay, I really wanted to take the Packers here, but I'm taking the Lions. I think it'll be a close one, and I think the Packers will be in it right until the end, trying to make it work. But I got the Lions 24, and I got the Packers 19, so I don't have them covering.
All right, 24-19. Kyle, do you want me to go next? Or you got it?
I can go. So the Packers, just as of a few hours ago, put Bakhtiari on the injured reserve. But they are getting Aaron Jones back. They are getting Christian Watson back. And it is at home. That's enough for me to swing it. I agree with Tim. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be close. I actually got the Packers 24-23 over the Lions.
Me. So I've got Detroit going in there, and I got Detroit pulling out the win. I've got Detroit winning this game 24-21. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think these Thursday night games are either low scoring or they're just a mismatch.
Or a shootout.
Just obviously
you might
on shorter rest.
Too on these.
Or you might randomly get like, typically it's lower scoring. You might just get like last week was just a mismatch, and then you get your random just barn burner, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Chiefs Rams from like 2019 or whatever.
Yeah. You get barn burners like that. And so I got Detroit 24-21. Speaking of Chiefs Rams 2019, Jared Goff did come out, I think, on top of that game. Actually,
sure did.
I think the Rams won that game.
24 seems to be the
54-51, I think.
Yeah, there was defensive touchdowns, offensive touchdowns, every touchdown.
If you played somebody in fantasy, you were happy. It did not matter what position you played.
Any position you played, the Rams defense. Chiefs, I think both defense got a touchdown too. So
they let up 38 points, and you were happy. You were fine.
You're like, okay, you know what? They at least got me 8. We're going to go with that. All right, Kyle, next game.
So we got a London game this week. It's kind of a quasi home game for the Jags because they often go over there due to their owner and his relationship because he owns – who does he own? Does he own fucking Liverpool? I don't know. I don't think it's Liverpool, but he owns one of the Premier League teams.
The
Jags are – this is one of the most confusing games of the week for me. I actually don't even have a pick as of right now. But the Jags are favored by 3 against the Atlanta Falcons. Technically, the Jags are the home team in this situation. I don't even know why they put an at. But Jags favored by 3. I want to hear both your thoughts on this game. It's interesting to me, to say the least.
Timmy, you got it.
I think we see this a lot with the London and the UK games and all those overseas games. They tend to be not super entertaining a lot of the times. A lot of times they're really low scoring. And of course it's the Jags Falcons. So like it could be a literally 3-6 game and it would not surprise me here.
3-6.
It's tough because I get it. They do put the Jags as the home team, and they've really been like marketing the Jags over there. So there will be a lot of Jags fans, but I like the Falcons. I just think that they're going to be able to control the game running wise. And Trevor Lawrence just hasn't looked like that MVP dark horse that a lot of people thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
So if they control the game, if their defense plays okay, I think they can win, and I think it'll be a really low scoring game. But I have it at 17-10 Falcons, but I think it could be way lower than that, like 13-7 or something like that. But
some might say Trevor Lawrence has looked a little Trevor Dodgers. Keenan, what do you think? What do you got for this?
I was just going to think Bill Lawrence, but we can go
Bill
with Bill
Lawrence.
Prue too if you want.
nobody's going to understand that.
All right. So I wrote down the score 25-22. I wrote down Atlanta, erased it. Then I put down Jags and then erased it. So as I'm speaking, I think right now that the Jags obviously are coming off of a terrible loss. They just lost by 20 to the Texans. Atlanta is coming off a 20-6 loss to Detroit. I think this is one of those games where I'm going to chalk it up to this. If they are who they say they are and how they should be, Jacksonville has to win this game. I got them 25-22. I am not confident in that in the slightest. I kind of hope Atlanta wins.
That's exactly where I'm at. Neither one of you really swayed me either way on my pick because I haven't made a pick. Look, normally my rule would be with Atlanta, Ritter versus a good quarterback. I'm going to pick the quarterback who could throw. As you guys said, Jacksonville has looked like shit these last couple weeks. Tidbit, I don't know if you guys know this about their schedule. Obviously, as we mentioned, it's a London game this week. They stay in London. I've never seen this. Back-to-back London weeks. All right? And they got the Bills coming to them. Don't like Jacksonville's chances in that game. I don't even care if the Bills are the traveling team. I like them on a neutral field. I'll take the Bills all day. The tidbit.
They should win that game, though. They are going to be there in London, accustomed to the time. I'm not saying they will, but I'm just saying they should. They have the faith. That's the true home field advantage.
Should.
Yeah, keyword is should. They should have also beaten the Texans last week, but they got dog.
But then this is the best part. This is my favorite tidbit I've heard. They gave the Jags the option to take the bye week after the two London games. They denied it. They said, no, let's go back and play. They got a divisional game, the Colts, as soon as they get back into the States. I think that's a home game. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. And then they got a Thursday night game off of that. And then they get they get a mini bye. They get a 10-day bye. And then I believe they got the Niners coming off that. Actually, let me look. Sorry, no, they got the Saints coming off that. The Steelers would be Saints would be the Thursday night game off the Colts game. Then they got the Steelers off 10 days rest, which isn't an easy game. Then they'll finally have their bye week, and they got the Niners and a tough stretch in general coming off that. So off of that, all I'm trying to say is they need this game because if not, I could see them absolutely losing every single one of those games the way it looks right now. I'm even leaning towards Jags not making the playoffs, just given that stretch. They absolutely need this game because I'm just, spoiler alert, I'm picking the Bills next week. So, and even saying that, they need it. I don't know if I still want to pick them, but I am going to go with my rule of Ritter versus a quarterback who is able-bodied and can throw. I'll take the Jags. You could tell me any score. You guys went a little lower. I'm going to go 31-25 Jags and not confident about it.
I hope it's yours. I hope it's yours.
We shall see.
I hope it's not Timmy's. I really hope it. I like Atlanta to win, but God, I hope it's not Timmy. That was a boring game.
It's going to be boring. Just buckle up. It's going to be boring.
The Falcons should be able to run the ball on them. And look, if the Falcons get up, if the Falcons can get up by like 8, just strictly by 1.
That might be all they need.
If they get up by like a touchdown plus, I mean, what have we seen? I know it's early, and I know these London games are just kind of different, much like Thursday night games. You can kind of just take them as a separate entity, but these Jags haven't shown anything outside of maybe week 1 when they won 31-17, but even that was an ugly game. They didn't look great. They didn't look great the last 2 weeks.
Good fourth quarter.
So yeah, I mean, sorry, Brandon Petty, you're watching this. Shouts to you, but he's already off the Jags. He's like, fuck the Jags, fuck the season. But yeah, no, if they lose this game, I'm like almost all the way on board with them missing the playoffs. They need this game.
Okay.
I totally agree. Actually, you just saying that schedule coming up, I don't see more than like 4 wins from here all the way to like week 9. So like, it's gonna be really tough if they don't win this one and next week.
That Saints Steelers, like Steelers or whatever, they're a 50-50 team, but I mean, I think they'll be playing better by then. The Saints at least have a tough defense. You know, that's a team who could certainly give the Jags problems. So they need this win more than any. And, you know, say what you want about Ritter. Every part of this team outside of Ritter is, you know, not elite, but it's right there. It's going to be a tough game for him. Absolutely. So we can move.
Kyle, real quick aside, just because you had mentioned something. If Jags miss the playoffs, which means they don't win the division, who would you have as of just right now? Obviously, it's not definitive. Just curious.
Between the Colts, Texans, and Titans?
Yep.
I think I said before the season I would have the Titans in the running. The Texans look really good right now, though. Stroud especially. They got the defense. I think the Texans would be the.
I wanted them in fantasy.
I think the Texans would be the most fun pick. The Colts. Yeah. Colts, they look okay, but I'm still like, it's early season. That franchise in general has just kind of been a mess. So who knows? And we still got the Jonathan Taylor situation. But Richardson's looked okay. But gun to my head, I would probably pick the Texans over the Colts. Then it's just whatever you're getting out of Tannehill at quarterback. They obviously got the coaching advantage and really an advantage everywhere else. Like the defense is playing decent. Yep. You know, Derrick Henry's going to be Derrick Henry. He might have a bad game here, but he's liable to go off for 150. You just never know, you know? So if you can manage Tannehill or even get a good, viable backup, I know they got 2 young backups, but who knows what you're getting out of them. There's really question marks everywhere, but I guess the Texans right now, going into week 4, I guess the Texans would be the one I would pick. What about y'all?
Yep. I probably would have the same thing. To be honest with you, right now, it's not really saying much, but CJ Stroud's probably the second best quarterback in the division. So you take that out. Like Anthony Richardson, I think, has obviously the best legs, but I think CJ is the most developed out of the 2 rookies. And then Ryan Tannehill is just a shell of what he was. So at this point, he's just
could argue Trevor Lawrence is a shell of what he was too by the looks.
He's been playing like it a little bit. But yeah, so that would be what I would say. It would probably be the Texans as well. I like their defense, as I've always said. And then offensively, Tank Dell has looked good. Nico Collins has looked pretty solid. Dalton Schultz was a good pickup. Damian Pierce hasn't even really gotten going this year. And still, CJ Stroud's just been throwing it all over the lot. Like they've got the 98, 99 Vikings.
I think I'd say the same thing. I think I'd lean the Texans right now, but for whatever reason, if they played in the playoffs, Texans-Titans, I'd take the Titans just because of that coaching advantage. They'd figure it out. They would scheme it up. They would figure out that one game. But the way the Texans are playing right now, I think they're up. I would take them over the Titans both weeks this year. And I know Derek's probably going to run for 200 on them both times. So
I was going to say, that was a book 'em thing. But I did not expect to be talking about the AFC South like this much. Shout out to the AFC South lovers. We got you in the segment. All right, next game.
Next game we got is Dolphins-Bills. Probably my favorite game of the 1 o'clock slate. I have the Bills. First of all, they're a 3-point favorite, I believe, or 2.5. Let me look again. 3-point favorite right now. It was 2.5 the other day. I got the Bills winning 31-25. I have them holding serve at home. Would not be surprised, obviously, to see Miami win this game. But fun fact about the Bills, over their last 24 games, they're 20-4. They are not losing, and they don't lose at home. I think they kind of, the Dolphins are coming off as high of a high as you can possibly have with 70 points. So I think they get smacked in the mouth a little bit here in Buffalo. One could say, though, if Buffalo's going to win, they're going to win big rather than a close game. You favor Miami in a close game maybe, but I think it's going to be quasi shootout that the Bills run away with. Not run away with, but take it home.
Okay. Timmy, you go next.
I agree with your reasoning. Bills at home are a force to be reckoned with, so I think it's pretty difficult for the Dolphins to travel. I mean, I understand they just put up 70, but I don't know if they can do it again back to back. I really wanted to take the Dolphins back to back. Anything over 40 is pretty impressive. So I wanted to take the Dolphins, but Bills Mafia at home. I'm going Bills, which is something I don't think I would have said preseason. I think I would have taken the Dolphins. But I think it's going to be a shootout right down to the wire. I got the Bills winning 33-31. Very, very close, high-scoring game here. Smash that over.
I agree with that.
So I actually have Miami. You said 34-31.
33-31.
Sorry, 33-31. I've actually got Miami 30-27. Out of the 20-4, Miami's one of those 4 teams that beat them, by the way. But so I think that Miami is real, and I think that they're a very, very good team. Not that you guys don't, because obviously you think it's a very close game. But I understand Buffalo is at home and they're rolling. But right now, if I think that one quarterback made a wrong decision, I'm saying it's Josh Allen before Tua. The way they've been playing, the way Mike McDaniel schemes that up, and I think it's going to come down to a quarterback making a wrong decision. And so I'm leaning with the Dolphins 30-27.
One thing about the Dolphins game that the Bills lost last year, that was a weird game where the Bills lived in the red zone. They like put up a ton of yards, and like I even think they ran out the clock at the end. It had a weird ending too. So it's kind of a fluky game, but
they lost fluky too. Well, they love to lose fluky.
They do.
It's something they love to do.
They do, but
they lost this year fluky.
That's true. That's very true. It's very true. But I think this being in Buffalo, even if it's probably going to be nice weather, which, serves the Dolphins well, I think the Bills win at home. And then, whenever they do play Miami in Miami, which is probably, if I had to guess, probably sometime after week 10, I think Miami takes that one, just not even knowing anything right now. But I think they'll split.
Week 18.
Oh, it's the last game of the year? Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. That game could be meaningless. Who knows?
Oh goodness. So the Bills end this year: Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins.
I did not know that.
That's their last.
That's like
6.
the toughest stretch of anybody. That's insane.
That is Super Bowl finalist, Super Bowl champion, divisional round, wild card weekend, barely missed the playoffs, and then wild card weekend. That's all playoff teams except for the Patriots, who literally lost in the last week of the season.
Those are all tough games.
And damn tough. Good.
TV cliche here. We'll know a lot about the Bills after that stretch for sure.
We'll know what the Bills are after once they get to the playoffs. Well, right, what they are when they get to week 19 in the playoffs.
All right, next we got the Steelers and the Texans. Texans are a home underdog, 3 points. The Steelers are favored by. Hold up, where the fuck am I? Okay, I got that right. Texans are a 3-point underdog at home. This is another one I had blank. I didn't really know where to go with it. But for the story, I'm going to pick the Texans. Rookie quarterback starting off hot against the Steelers. I think that makes the better story. So I'm going with them. I'm going to say 24-21, Houston. H-Town.
Timmy, you. Houston and Vegas.
Even though I like the Texans and I think they're hot, I think this is going to be the most boring game of the week. So I'm picking the Steelers, which I do not like to do. I got them 16-9. I think Tomlin's going to make it difficult for Stroud. I think it's going to be really boring. Lots of field goals.
I remember I picked a game a couple years ago. I think it was season before last game. I picked a game that was like 7-5, or like it was two meaningless.
You threw
teams.
in the safety.
Yeah, it was two meaningless teams. At the end
it
of
was
the
one of
season.
the weirdest scores.
It was like,
because I remember Camden commented on the post. It was like, yeah, what is this?
It was like, yeah, whatever
man.
with these two. Yeah, Keen, what's your pick?
So I've also got Houston. I've got Houston 23-20. really, there's one key to this game and one key only, and it is TJ Watt. If they can make TJ Watt really good, then they have a chance to win. If TJ Watt's a menace, they probably lose. So it really depends. Like, TJ's probably walking out with like a sack plus. Just hope that it's not 2 with like 10 pressures and a forced fumble. So really, whatever they do, 2 people, 5 people, like just figure out how to block that guy, because that guy could ruin the entire game. But I do have it 24 or 23-20.
We're all in the same ballpark with a lot of these games. Like, we're all in the same area.
Yes.
Next, we got the Rams going to Indy. Indy's favored by 1.5 points. I've got same score Keenan just had for a separate game. I got 23-20 Indy over the Rams. I probably like the Rams a little better as a team than the Colts. I think the Colts have proven, though, they can play a physical game, whether that's with Anthony Richardson at QB or with Minshew. And I think that's a bad stylistic matchup for the Rams. As we saw last week, the Bengals got physical with them, stole that game. Especially they gave the offensive line a lot of trouble. If the Colts can do that at all, I think they come away with a win. So I got 23-20 home team.
All right, Timmy, you?
I still think the Colts are a bit of a sham. This kind of happens every year where they're like poised to be really good, and then they beat one of the good teams. Last year they beat the Chiefs like week 2, and then they were like, "Yep, they're." And then I think 1 week later they beat the Broncos like 12-9 on Thursday Night Football. I think the Rams come in and they control this game. Kind of use this as like a bounce back game from last week, because they were definitely in that game too. I've got Rams 26, Colts 16.
I agree. I think the Rams it's going to be a nice game, because I believe this is the last game before Cooper Kupp. I think Kupp comes back next week. They're definitely going to emphasize this one to get to 2-2. If they can get to 2-2, they have a real shot to maybe make the playoffs as a wild card, or because I think that the 49ers are going to run away with the division. But I think it's going to be closer. I've got this game being 25-23. I think it'll be a very tough game. Steichen's got them playing well.
All right, we got the Vikings going to Carolina. The Vikings are a 4-point favorite. Bryce Young might start this game. You could argue,
believe he is.
You could argue that they look better with Dalton. I don't really like much about the Panthers. I got the Vikings getting their first win, 27-20. And I'm going to downgrade that 20 right now, actually. I thought Dalton was starting, but it sounds like it is officially Bryce Young. So I'm going to knock that down to 27-17 Soda.
Oh, Tim, always you.
Same
next.
boat. I think Minnesota's the better team here. Definitely not defensively. I would take Carolina's defense in a heartbeat. But offensively, I think they're much better. And if Bryce Young plays, I don't know if they can win many games. I totally agree. Andy Dalton looked serviceable last week. But I do think the Panthers defense actually gives some problems to Kirk. Kirk's always going to have a couple of these games where he just doesn't throw for 303. And when he does that, they don't score a lot. They don't run super well, especially against Panthers front. So I have 17-16, but I do have the Vikings pulling out the win here.
So I've got it close as well. I think changes have to come if Minnesota loses this game. Like, something has to move. They can't lose this game. Obviously, Kyle, not wrongly either, thinks that because of how the NFC North is going to be, that they might be in play for the division. If that's the case, this is not a game you can lose. And I've got Minnesota winning this game. I think it's going to be 26-21. I do think Adam Thielen does have a decently big day against his old team, but comes up short.
Next, we got Bucks at Saints. This is an underrated game, depending how you feel, depending how you think Jameis will look this coming Sunday. Didn't look too great in a relief effort against the Packers. So Saints are favored by 3.5 at home. I've got the Bucks winning, though, because I did not like how Jameis looked 23-17. If this was Derek Carr, I'd probably pick the Saints. But I do like Jameis. I like all the chaos he brings. You might get a 500-yard game. You might get 5 pick sixes, 5 interceptions, whatever. But, yeah, I don't like Dennis Allen or Jameis in this spot. Maybe another week out if Jameis is still starting, he finds his rhythm. But I think this week will be a little tough. A lot of talent on that Bucks defense and in general on that team. So I think the Bucks, ugly game, but I think they come away with it 23-17.
23-17. All right, Timmy, you go.
I think the only thing keeping the Saints in this game is their defense. Is Kamara back this week or is he next week?
Yes,
I think it is
this week he's back.
If he gets rolling, maybe he stays or they stay in it a little bit closer. I think it might probably be a close game here, but I just don't like the Bucs offense. Like you said, don't like Jameis. Probably better if they started Taysom Hill, not going to lie. I got Bucs 17, Saints 14.
Low scoring.
Defensive game.
You've got Bucs 17-14.
Yep.
Alrighty. I actually have the Saints winning this game. I don't think that the Bucs are getting above 20. The Saints have actually held the last 11 opponents to 20 or less, which is kind of crazy. Crazy stat that they just kind of go under the radar because they have the Saints and they're not that great of an overall team because of their offense. But so I think this game is going to be 20-17. I don't see a lot of scoring. It's going to just be two defenses that are very good going at it. Every now and again, this means it's 38-35 because two defensive teams going against each other manage to just blow it up. So maybe it's a barn burner shootout, but I think it's going to be 20-17.
I want to pick the Saints too. I like Jameis more than I like Baker Mayfield, but I do think, and the coaching matchup is terrible. So this is really a coin flip. I mean, and Jameis could just, after a week of practice, he really could go out there and light it up. I did not like how he looked in relief, but would not be surprised at all to see the Saints come away with it. But this is a terrible coaching matchup. Bulls versus Dennis Allen.
This is a terrible game if it's the next one, I think. What's the next game?
Commanders
hope it's not the one
at Philly.
Oh, no. Okay,
Philly is an 8.5-point favorite. No, that one's coming next. I got Philly. By the way, the Commanders should just go back to the football team. I think that's the best name in their history. I wouldn't even care if New England changed from the Patriots to a football team. Love the football team name. Supposedly they're going to change after the year again, their team name. So that's my early petition to get it back to football team. We'll see what it is, though. But I got 28-17 Eagles over the Commanders.
I think same logic. Eagles are definitely the better team here. For some reason, the Commanders always seem to give their divisional opponents fits, but it won't be this game. I have the Eagles winning 27-19. The Commanders will have a better game than they did last week, but I just can't see them winning this one.
I've got this game 30-20 Philly. I think it's going to be a decently close game early. Like first quarter-ish, it stays a little close. Philly pulls away at half and then just coasts to a win.
This matchup next is one of the worst matchups I've ever seen in my life. You guys already know what I'm talking about. My question for you guys is, how bad are the Bears? They're 3.5-point underdogs.
You go first.
They're 3.5-point underdogs at home versus a team who just gave up 70 points. That's how bad Fields and the Bears are. I'm picking the Broncos. Let me see the score. 27-24. I do think it's an over. I do think it's a higher scoring game because the Broncos can't stop anybody. The Bears can't stop anybody either. But Fields might as well be a blind man in the pocket. He can't. There's nothing he can do. If he's not running, it's just over for him as far as throwing the ball. So I like Russ and Sean Payton in this position over them. I don't care if they just gave up 70. The Bears are somehow the worst team out of the two. So that's where I'm going.
I agree. Fun stat. The Bears haven't won a game since October. And in a couple of days here, it'll be October. So
is that true?
Kind of sad.
Holy shit.
I think they had like 3 wins like off the bat, and then they did really, really bad.
Oh my God. I did not realize that. That's insane.
That's a fun fact. That's a super fun fact.
And I think it might be October that they finally get one. So it'll be a decent game. I think Fields is actually going to have a decent game. But I have the Broncos 24-21.
Yeah. So, I actually think that Fields is going to have a decent game because I think that he's just going to run like a fantasy decent game. I think it's just going to be probably him over 100 running. He might not throw for more. 21-16. I've got the Bears beating the Broncos. Again, not betting the Broncos to score more than 16. I understand they did it back-to-back weeks, but after that atrocity, I am not betting. The Bears lost by 31. The Broncos lost by 50.
Bears don't have a defense or a quarterback, though.
Apparently, the Broncos don't have a defense. They allowed 70.
Broncos at least got a quarterback.
Yes.
That's a.
You know what? No, the Broncos are a better team than the Bears. Most of the time, I'm going to choose them. Coming off of last week, I can be dead wrong on this pick and be fine. I'm not betting them. They just allowed 70. That is a personal feeling. They just allowed 70. 21-16.
Who did the Bears?
I mean, also, if the other side, I could. Oh, with the Bears play, I don't know. Whatever they.
Because I really do wonder when. I did not realize I hadn't won since last October, so I'd be interested when their first win comes because this would be the one.
Their first.
But I don't see it.
Wait, what was that?
I said I'm interested to see when their first win would come.
Ooh.
This would be the one, but I don't. I think the Broncos, top to bottom, even with their shitty defense, is a better team.
I'll read you their games.
Okay.
Commanders.
Maybe.
Vikings.
Nope.
Raiders.
That might be the one.
Chargers.
Nope.
Saints.
Maybe.
Panthers.
It could very well go all the way to that Panthers game before they get anything. I could see the Raiders.
Fair enough, though.
I could see the Raiders, but the Raiders, like, this is the one if it's not. I could see the Raiders just because Jimmy G, like, will just throw a terrible ball here and there, but they definitely got more talent. They got more able-bodied humans on their team, so.
Fun fact, though, if they do win, it will be a year because October 1st is Sunday. So it might be they did not win from October to October. But
anyone have the exact date of when it was last October?
I got it right here. You guys should remember this pretty well. You guys don't? October 24th.
Pats. Oh, it's the Pats. Okay.
The Bears beat the Pats.
For sure. Wow, that was their last win. God damn.
That was their last win.
And that Panthers game is probably November, wouldn't it be? Because that was like 4 games down the road.
The Panthers game, that one, hold on just a second. That one is November 9th. Yes.
Okay. All right. They got to win this one to make it out of November or to make it out of October because I don't know about the other ones. The second most intriguing game to me in this 1 o'clock slate, Ravens at the Browns. Browns are a 2.5 point favorite. I would not have said this weeks ago, and I can't believe I'm saying it right now. I got the Browns winning 21-15. This defense is fucking electric. It looks very much like the Cowboys did those first few weeks where they were just flying around on defense, except this Browns team is much more physical. They're hard hitting. It's hard to even get in the red zone. Normally I would favor Harbaugh and Lamar in this game, but I don't know. I don't feel good picking against the Browns, given how their defense looks. Given that Deshaun showed some signs of life last week, and it's at home, Cleveland can be a tough place to play. Again, I'm shocked to say this, but yeah, 21-15, Browns over the Ravens.
Completely agree. The Browns are hot. It's kind of weird to say that because that hasn't happened very often. Their defense is playing good. Deshaun's playing fine. If they had Nick Chubb, I would be smashing the Browns to win this game. I could totally see a scenario where the Ravens just go up like 16-0 in the first half or something like that. But I think the Browns actually pull away with this a little bit more late score. I have them 27-16. I think it'll be a close game most of the way, though.
This is the game that Lamar thrives in. Chaos. Like, I feel like Lamar's legs just thrive, and it seems like when Lamar plays, he's like one of two games he plays well. It's either when his offense is obviously flowing or when he just has to go backyard football, kind of in the sense of Myles Garrett's coming at his face, pause.
Heavy pause.
That was heavy pause. And then Myles Garrett is rushing off the edge, attacking Lamar aggressively, and then Lamar has to make plays. I've got the Ravens 23-22. I think that this game is going to be fun, interesting, and
I can't wait for it.
But I do think that the Ravens are going to come out on top of it.
I can't wait for it. If this game was in Baltimore, I'd probably pick the Ravens, but the Browns, even though they're 1-1 in their last two, obviously, I don't know. I think there's some synergy there. I really think they found something off that last win with Deshaun. Like, if he can just continue even 70% of that, the Ravens are banged up enough to where I think the Browns can take advantage of it, because that defense is scary. Another one of the games I had blank. I really don't know what to do with this game. The Bengals at the Titans. The Bengals are favored by 2.5. Had Burrow looked any sort of good, I think I even said after the game, we did a little mini podcast on the Live Take app, by the way. Download the Live Take app. I said, like, regardless of what happens, I'm picking the Titans, I'm picking the Bengals this week. And I've kind of come off that feeling. Like, Burrow didn't look good. This Titans team is physical. I think it's going to be an ugly, low-scoring game like we have with a lot of these games this week. I could see it being very reminiscent of the Browns and Ravens, honestly. But you've got two quarterbacks who cannot move in Tannehill and injured Burrow. You favor Burrow in that situation, but, the Titans and Bengals almost have a little mini rivalry. It always seems to be an entertaining game anytime they play. So you could tell me almost any outcome with this game, and it is Titans at home. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. See if you can sway me either way on the Bengals. I know Keenan's probably going to go Bengals. Tim, I think you're going to go Bengals too, because you did say Monday when we recorded that coming out of week 4, the headline is going to be the Bengals are on top. So are both of you going Bengals here? You got them going to 2-2?
I am. I'm definitely going Bengals here. Not necessarily because of the Bengals, just because of the Titans. They just haven't looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. Low-scoring game here, and I think the only thing keeping the Titans in is their defense, just because they just can't seem to move the ball. I don't know if last week was just like a one-time thing, but they did not look good. So I got Bengals 16-10.
Oh, my God.
Could see – yeah, no, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be low-scoring. I could see like a complete bounce back, though, where the Bengals just score 30 and their defense is still decent. So
I don't see it. Just because Burrow just doesn't look good moving around. Yeah. His average target depth, I believe the stat was like 3 yards from this past week.
So I do have the Bengals 25-18. I think if there's any game for the passing game to get right, it's against one of the 3 worst pass defenses in the league. So, yeah. I mean, they scored 19 against a better Rams team. I think that scoring 6 more points, especially when they left points on the table last week, as I said when we were talking about it, with the 2 false starts in the first drive, which made the field goal longer, which they missed that, and then the false start on 3rd down again afterwards, taking them out of field goal range. T. Higgins dropped multiple balls. Joe Burrow I think he dropped back 54 times, threw the ball 49 times. Oh, guys, come on. What are we doing here? But threw the ball 49 times, was starting to gain a rapport with Jamar again in that second half. I think that they're going to be able to continue with that rapport, and I don't think T. Higgins is going to continue to drop balls just thrown to his chest. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a clean game. I mean, 25 doesn't mean the most clean of games for sure. I think it's going to be a definitely gritty 25, but I could see Joe Burrow 260, 2 touchdowns and a
Holy
pick.
Shit.
Maybe you said, or maybe just 2 touchdowns, no picks. His 1 pick last week came on a very good defensive play. He put the ball where he wanted to put the ball last week in the second half for the most part. He started to look a little better and getting used to the leg. So, again, it's not going to be great. It's not going to look great, but I think the Bengals will come out with a win 25-18.
I mean, I disagree with saying Joe Burrow looked better. I mean, the stats might have looked better, but I didn't feel any sort of positivity especially if I'm a Bengals fan, with how he moved around. I mean, he seemed very limited.
He looked better in the second half than the first half to me.
Sure.
I said, like, that's what I was saying. From the second half to the first half, he looked better than he had. That was what I was saying.
Sure.
Sorry.
But he's still not going to be able to throw downfield. I'm going to zig while you guys are zagging for no real reason. I'm going to go Titans. We'll say 17-15. I do think it's going to be a battle of the field goals. Yeah, I'll play heel on the Bengals fan base for this one. Keen, we saw your Pornhub history when the Warner Brothas podcast logo went away. So.
Yeah, I'm sure on YouTube. We saw that. I'm sure. Timmy, what was your score again for that? I was too distracted with the content, the hub behind me. I didn't remember it. My bad.
I got Bengals 16, Titans 10.
16-10. That's what I would have guessed, but sorry, I was distracted with the hub. So now we're into the 4:00 window. Kyle, what's the first game we're talking?
We got Raiders at Chargers. It'll basically be a Raiders home game, but the Chargers are favored by 5.5. Let me see what I had for a score here. I got the Chargers winning 30-19 over the Raiders.
I also team Chargers here. I lost Mike Williams. Don't think it's going to really be much of a problem. I think somebody will step up. They still got Keenan Allen. They might get Austin Eckler back. So I got Chargers 27, Raiders 20. I think the Raiders actually hold their own, though. Whereas last week, poor coaching didn't look like they were really in that game a lot of the time. So
I have the Chargers as well, but I actually have it in a close game. I have it 28-26. I think that this game is going to be very interesting because I do think that the Chargers can be thrown on. And with that being said, you've got maybe the best receiver in the league in Devonta Adams coming off a great game. The rapport between Jacoby and Jimmy Garoppolo has been looking good as well. So I think it'll be a fun game, a fun divisional game, but I do think the Chargers are just the better team. Keenan Allen's been playing like a man possessed. Quentin Johnston might get a couple plays with Joshua Palmer too.
Next game I have is actually Pats Cowboys, but the other 4:00 game is Niners Cardinals, and I think I have a hunch where we're all heading with that game. So we'll do the Cardinals and Niners first. Last time I looked, it was the Niners were a 14-point favorite, and they are still a 14-point favorite. I have the Niners winning 30-14. I think the Cardinals, how they've looked over the last couple of weeks, will be stymied a bit with this Niners defense and this Niners team overall. I settled on 30 with the Niners because they've scored 30 in every single game. So they're going to go 4 straight games of 30. They're going to put it on the Cardinals. Don't think that's crazy to say here, 30-14.
Also a no-brainer taking the 49ers, even though last week you could have said taking the Cowboys was a no-brainer. I don't have them scoring 30. I actually have the Cardinals not getting blown out. I got them actually losing by 14, 24-13.
Did you say I'm losing by 14?
I did say that, but that is not math. So losing by 11.
Because I wasn't sure if you meant 27-13 because that's a regular football score too. So I was like, I was a little confused. I was like, he has an 11-point game, but said 14. I just wanted to make sure.
It's that MVU math right there.
That's that Full Sail math. I'm actually in a math class right now with Full Sail. It's easy. I'm learning about some addition, subtraction, fractions, exponent. It's really one of the most pointless classes
fourth grade math
I've taken so far. At least it's for. So man, it's been a tough one.
You're paying for that?
I mean, I'm paying for everything else. Everything else has actually been like learning and nice and fun.
This is a journalism school, though, right?
Yeah, so this is a Full Sail for sportscasting. They had to throw in one environmental science class, so I had a earth and physical science, and then I had one math class. Other than that, it's been pure, like, different writing stuff, obviously. Like, next one is, like, a sports and communications. Like, there's multiple classes, like, on that.
So, wait, you're dead working on addition and subtraction right now?
I worked on a couple addition problems like subtraction.
Can I get an example?
Division,
is it like 8 plus 6, or is it like 140 plus 140?
Like the question, I'm gonna give you a couple questions. Like one of them was
Freddie goes to the
yeah, literally. Like one of them was like that bad, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Freddie had 8 apples.
Just make one up here.
His friend ate 4. How many are left?
Is or like it'd be like what's 8,174 minus 5,216, but you're fine to use a calculator. So like, and then there was a couple questions that was like, okay, so it would just give a percent. It'd be like, okay, so what's 40% of 24, and just like things like that, where it's like I can easily just figure this out calculator wise. It's like so it's like, okay. But anyway, so I'm in a nice college. That was at least week 1. We'll see what week 2, 3, and 4 look like. But week 1 so far.
I'm going to guess the environmental science class was just as easy too.
No, it was a little bit harder. It was a little bit harder. I had to actually like do things. It was actually like looking into like Newton's laws and things like that. So it wasn't just like hey, what is photosynthesis? Like what happened? What is that? No, there's actually more to that. This math class so far has been cake. But speaking of cake, it's going to be that for the 49ers. They're going to I don't think that the last week's going to happen this week. If it does, then maybe I need to take the Cardinals seriously as a playoff team. But the Cowboys always have that we can suck game in their back pocket. The 49ers don't have that really. Like the 49ers will lose tough games or they lose division games. I understand this is a division game, but it's not a tough game. So I have it 33-17. I'm not really concerned about it.
Word. Moving on to the Cowboys game. Pats at Cowboys. Cowboys are a 6.5 point favorite. I've seen it be a 7.5 point line. I've seen it, I think it opened at 4.5. So it's at 6.5 right now as we speak on Thursday. This was another palms up game for me. The other one I left blank. So I'm interested to see where you guys go here.
Timmy, you first.
I pray to the football gods that the Patriots win this game. Putting the Cowboys at 2-2 after that debacle that happened last week would just be perfect. However, I'm leaning Cowboys here in Dallas. I think it's going to – if it was in Gillette, I think I would probably lean back to the Patriots. Patriots, they did beat the Cowboys last year, right? Or did they even play them last year? Am I thinking of 2 years ago?
I think confused, but I think they lost possibly. But anyways, okay. Go on. I think they lost.
I think they'll be in this game all the way. I got Cowboys 23-20, but I think it'll be a pretty physical game here. And I'll be rooting for the Patriots. I don't know how often I'm ever going to say that again, but I'm rooting for them.
I do think that game was the year before last, and it was a wild game, and I think the Cowboys came away with it, and the Patriots had their chances. I think Mac had a pick six.
I remember the Patriots won that game. It was like Trayvon Diggs had a pick six, and then the next play, Kendrick Bourne went 80 yards on him.
I thought they lost that game.
And the Patriots...
I thought they lost an OT in that game.
I'm pretty sure the Patriots walked it off.
I don't think they did.
No, the Cowboys walked it off because Dak in overtime threw it deep to a CD. It was 35-29.
Yep. In OT.
35-20. I'm just looking at it.
It does seem like the Pats win that game because they did bounce back immediately after the pick six with that Kendrick Bourne play. That much I do remember. But I remember them coughing that up. Keenan, what do you have in this game?
Okay. So I'm going to start off with the winner and then why. 25-21 Patriots. Why? We saw last week the Cowboys had to adjust their defense because of the loss of Trayvon Diggs. It's less man, it's more zone. We saw last week a team be physical with the Cowboys front, and we saw that with that being said, it neutralized Micah to a degree, and they were able to run. They were able to be physical. You have Zeke coming back to Dallas. You have Ramondre Stevenson, who's a very good running back. You've got Bill Belichick, who studies tape probably better than any other coach ever. He's going to see that. He's going to see that we can be physical. I understand that we're not going to just let Micah try to kill Mac Jones every play. We're going to be physical. We're going to run the ball, and they can do that up and down the field, I feel. I think that the Dallas Cowboys defense has always had a problem with against the run. They've always been great against the pass. I think when you slow this game down, comes down to making mistakes. I think that Bill Belichick can scheme up some defenses. Christian Gonzalez has been playing great football, so he's going to see a lot of CeeDee Lamb this game, and I think he can do well the same way he did well on Tyreek Hill. I just see the Patriots being able to play with Dallas this entire game, and then at the end being able to make the plays defensively that they need to get the W. I can see Zeke in the end zone. Definitely. I might see him. I definitely see Zeke in the end zone at some point.
Zeke revenge game.
I can see from Zeke like 9 carries for like 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like I could see that, and like Stevenson getting the bulk of the work, but like Zeke getting a lot of the third down runs and a lot of the goal line runs and getting in. I had a 25-21. Obviously, there's a war. If you told me a team blew somebody out, the Cowboys blew the Patriots out for sure. Like the Cowboys can win this game for sure. It's not like a thing that can't happen. But I did say that the sky was going to be falling in Dallas on Monday for my Monday morning headline. And I think that to be the case. 25-21, New England.
Not sure what my final score is. I do know it's going to be in the same ballpark as y'all, which is low to mid-20s.
Yep.
I'm conflicted because, yes, I agree. I mean, first of all, like Micah Parsons, he's a dominant defensive player. Belichick, historically, no matter what kind of team he has, is able to neutralize that type of player. The Cowboys have injuries on their offensive line. They've signed guys to the practice squad on their offensive line, which means guys are probably not going to play that are starters for their offensive line. As you mentioned, the Patriots can run the ball. The Cowboys are terrible in the red zone. That's where Belichick defenses thrive, is in the red zone. They have no power option. Literally, there's plenty of reasons for me to pick the Pats. I just feel uneasy. I feel like I picked them a lot in these games, and it backfires on me. So this is kind of a prove-it game for me for the Pats. So I'm going to pick against them, though I do think it's a great matchup for them at this time. Look, they could have lost that game. I don't know how. Like after the safety in the Jets game, I flipped it over. Like I still had it on, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. And the Jets were still somehow in that game. You can make an argument if that's Trevor Siemian, maybe the Jets at least get that game into OT. The fact that they had a Hail Mary shot at the end of the game, a good one, is frightening to me. But that being said, the Pats really did. I mean, if you don't look at the final score, the Pats really did move the ball effectively. They put up, I think, 380 yards on the Jets, somewhere in that ballpark. The Jets are a good defense. Look, they can definitely out-physical the Cowboys. And everything I'm saying sounds like I'm going to pick the Pats, but I'm really not. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I guess in the same ballpark as Tim, 25 to, say 23. 25-23 Cowboys. But really, I like the Pats as a live dog in that game. I do. And I don't know. I got more thoughts on Mac Jones because I think people are being hard on him. I get the stats don't look great, but I think he looks miles better than he has the last 2 years. And I still think it's early.
I mean, he's got a human at coordinator. So
it helps. It helps. But, if the Pats can come away with this and they go to 2-2 going into week 5, they're hitting a softer part of their schedule towards the middle of their season. So that would be good. That would be great for them. But we'll see. It's a prove-it game for me because they were absolutely in those first 2 games with upper echelon teams. And Cowboys, regardless of the sky's kind of fallen after that Arizona the Arizona loss and the Trayvon Diggs loss, they still should beat the Pats. So Pats, prove it to me. I think you guys got all the advantages in this game: coaching advantage, defensive advantage, line advantage at this point, and the physical advantage and the red zone advantage. but I'm still going to go with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Damn. You would think
All
that's
right,
the last game, the way
sounded...
we broke that down, but Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at the Jets. We'll be seeing a lot of Taylor Swift this game, I'm sure. That'll be interesting. We got Chiefs favored over the Jets at New York. Where the fuck are we? 9.5 points.
Be a good game.
9.5 points. The Chiefs are favored. I got the Chiefs winning.
Supposed to be a good game.
It was supposed to be. I got the Chiefs winning 28-13. That's assuming Zach Wilson finishes the game. Maybe if Simeon finishes, maybe that goes to 28-16. But 28-13 if that's Zach Wilson. As long as the Jets play Zach Wilson, I'm going to pick against them. Unless it's like the Bears or somebody. You know what I mean? But any equal team, I'm going to pick against the Jets. I just don't see it with Zachy.
I'm also picking against them here. The only way I see the Jets really scoring this year is if they can run the football. And the Chiefs are pretty tough to run the football on. I think they're like the fourth best against running backs this year. So I think this is going to be like a beating.
Goff pick already?
Seriously?
Yeah, Goff just threw a pick.
Totally blanked. Forgot the game was even rolling. I think it's going to be a beating. I think the Chiefs are going to come in here and just control this game. I think Andy Reid's going to find a way to score. I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be 23-6. I think they're going to cover. I think Zach Wilson is going to be seeing ghosts. This is also the second week this year. It's kind of weird, but second week that Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football are played on the same turf, same game, same stadium. This happened week 1, Cowboys, Giants, into Jets, Bills, and now it's happening again.
That's interesting.
So very interesting, but
fun fact.
I got Chiefs 23-6.
I've got a lot to say about this game. 37-12 Chiefs. They just won 41-10 against the Bears. Their offense is probably about the same level. That's it. Nothing else. Mahomes is worlds better than Zach Wilson, than Zachy Poo. So, yeah.
As Tim mentioned, Monday night games in New York. Seahawks going to the Giants. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5. I got the Seahawks winning 24-20. It's weird when they face a team like the Panthers or the Giants, who I think the Seahawks are more talented than. They always seem to, I don't know if we can even say play down to the competition, but Seahawks seem to be in tight games with this type of matchup. And the Giants can be physical. They haven't really shown that yet at all this season, but I do have the Seahawks winning 24-20. The Giants are a weird team for me. If they came away with a victory here, that would be like literally best case scenario for them moving forward, because they'll have a lot of divisional matchups. It's going to be tough for them, but I got the Seahawks coming away with it.
Also in the Seahawks here, which is tough. Hate rooting against my own team. Obviously, I won't be rooting against them, but I just think the Seahawks are better at almost every single position. Good chance Saquon doesn't play. If Saquon doesn't play, I don't see this offense really up to its full potential. I got the Seahawks 27, Giants 17.
So I've got this. I think Kyle is right on one thing for sure, and that is that the Seahawks, like, it's almost like, again, they're not playing down, but they take it light. It almost feels like it's like they come in like they moonwalk into it, like they just lightly come.
They got enough
the
offensive talent where you'd think they could win this game by 2 touchdowns, but these games often end up in that 24-18, 2020 scenario, you know, like the Panthers last week.
Yeah. It's like they play very conservative all game because they know at some point, like, all they have to do is just like kind of like squeak their way through. It's really odd. But I got it 26-21. Best case scenario will be obviously if Saquon Barkley plays and they had the longest break I think you can have, obviously going from Thursday to Monday. So good for them in that sense. So the Giants should be well rested, mini bye. But I just don't think they have enough horses.
It'd be different if they had Saquon for sure.
If they have Saquon, this game's definitely winnable. Without Saquon, it's gonna be surprising if they win. But again, it's a game that the Seahawks randomly could lose, but then the next week play the Chiefs and beat the Chiefs or something like that. Like they just have that kind of weird up and down nature to them. But,
let me ask you guys this.
Yep.
We'll obviously be reconvening on Monday. Give me one bold prediction from this weekend's games.
One bold prediction from these weekend's games. Justin Fields has an 80-plus yard run.
Is that bold against a team that just gave up 70?
Oh,
is that not? I mean, you're the one that says that there's no way that they should even do anything. So I mean, I guess
no, I got a high scoring game. It's a 27-24 game. I just don't have them winning.
Bold prediction for Justin Fields: he has 2 runs over 50 yards. That's a little better, I think.
Okay, I guess I mean, I don't know how an 80-yard plus run's not bold.
Like that's the one thing we can expect. That's like one thing we can expect from Justin Fields.
Yeah, like we're expecting him to run to make up his production.
Do we expect 80-yard runs from people? Oh man, McCaffrey's gonna run for 80 yards on one play.
I can see it.
Really good.
You tell me that happens any game, I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Okay, and if you told me Curry made 15 threes, that would be surprising.
But like I think
it could happen,
Fields,
but it would still be bold.
I think Fields,
it has never happened.
I think Fields had one, and he's going to. Here's the thing: he's going against the 70-point defense, who gave up multiple 60-plus yards runs last week,
and they're favored.
Okay, so if I was to say that about Lamar Jackson, would that be okay?
I'm just expecting bolder.
Would that mean going against Cleveland?
That's all.
Okay, so what do you want me to say? That Tua's throwing for 750?
Well, I got one. As you know, I had the Browns 21-15. All 3 of those scores are going to be Deshaun Watson rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, just like okay. Okay.
All from 60 yards out. No, I'm just kidding. But at least 3. They're going to be all red zone ugly ass touchdowns. Will that happen? Hell no. But that's going to be my bold prediction, and it fits with my my game picks. Okay. But I like it. We all got rushing quarterback. One's there, I guess. 2 of them being Fields.
Oh no, you know what? Mine's gonna switch up. So I got CJ Stroud throws for 450.
I like it.
Is that better? Is that bold enough for you guys? Is that okay?
Bold. You could say 4.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
350.
Tim had a really weak bold prediction in the preseason one that we did for the season. It was like, I forget what it was, but I remember clowning it because I was like, that's bold, but not bold enough.
I remember you saying Micah Parsons has an 8-sack game. I think that's just like, you say 5, that's bold.
Exactly.
8's just crazy.
Exactly. I go over the top with these. Like Deshaun Watson getting 3 rushing touchdowns. That shit ain't gonna happen.
It's hard for me to make a bold prediction that goes against my like game picks. So looking at it like that, it's just harder to make a bold prediction.
I feel that. Yeah. But me and Keenan, we used to make pretty damn bold predictions. I mean, we still did. We still got some good ones in the preseason. That was a good one today. The 250-plus yard runs by Fields. If you would have said an 80-yard touchdown throw, that would have been bold. Fields, I still can't believe you offered me DJ Moore. I'm still mad about that.
Hey, there was another piece. Hey, first of all, welcome to the league. You're gonna get those trades. You're gonna get them pretty often.
Hey, it was a better trade than I was offered in my other league today. That was
exactly. So like, don't be clowning me. I'm at least giving you a starter, maybe.
The other piece of that was better.
he starts for an NFL.
Also,
team.
To be fair, AJ Brown hasn't looked phenomenal up until this week. He had a pretty good week 3, yeah. But weeks 1 and 2, he did not look like the AJ Brown we know. So
it's fair.
All right, so picks are done. Dame talk is done. It is It's officially week 4 of the NFL. Packers are up 3-0 as of right now. 10:30 left. And any last words? Any other things that people want to say? We got a bold prediction now. We got Monday morning headline last Monday. So
did I give a Monday morning headline last time? I don't think I did.
Probably not, because you usually ask us what do you want and then don't have one for yourself.
That's not true. Usually I answer. I don't think I did for that one.
Sometimes. Depends. But do you have one?
Let me think.
Okay.
Jacksonville will be on life alert, even though I picked them in my picks.
Jacksonville will be on life alert. All right, Timmy, do you want a new one? obviously you said because yours already came true.
Mine did
that
come
the Jets were
true.
going to get a new quarterback. So yours is already true. So mine. So
the
get
Bengals
another
one?
one.
I want.
No, his. I said the Bengals one actually. He said that the Jets were going to get a quarterback.
Yeah, sounded better.
We're going to sign a quarterback.
It's true.
I want to say that a coach gets fired. I just think it's too early. It's really too early. Like week 6 or 7, I think at that point they might fire a coach. But week 4 is really early. I think there's quite a few coaches on the hot seat. So come back to me in a couple weeks and I'll pick the coach.
Belichick randomly gets fired after losing to the Cowboys. Makes Tom Brady coach.
Yeah, I don't either, Mike, because I had the Bengals are going to be fine, and then I had the Dolphins are Super Bowl favorites for my other one, like definitive Super Bowl favorites, and I do have them winning this game. So, oh geez, Laporta's been playing bully ball. Okay, I got to watch this game. All right, everybody, this was the Warner Brothas podcast. Again, live take. Download that app. Follow us at Warner Brothas Podcast everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We don't really use it because that's that. YouTube. But follow us, Warner Brothas Podcast. You know who we are, and we are out.